somewhere around Barstow, on the edge of the desert, when the drugs begin to take hold.
You're either in or you're out. Right now.
I want to gamble.
I never want to hear those words out of your mouth again.
Gambling is not your problem.
Has anybody ever told you before your bad luck?
Most gamblers, when they go to gamble, they go to win.
Those were my mother's dying words.
When we go to gamble, we go to lose. Show me the money.
Let's get out of here, man.
Show you the money.
Honestly, like, let's just go. Let's go to Vegas.
Jerry, I want you to say what you would mean it, brother. Show me the money!
It's the Sports Memory Vegas pregame show.
Super Bowl weekend, everybody. We have made it. I think we have a classic coming up here in about 48 hours. But that's a long time away. That is a substantial amount of time before kickoff. So what I'm going to do for you right now is give you a few things to watch to buy time before we get to the big game. So let's get it started with tonight. I think there is some excellent NBA action, and arguably the most enjoyable or not so enjoyable, depending on how you like your basketball, the Brooklyn Nets. They have the league's best offense and the league's worst defense. They are hosting the Toronto Raptors, and the line's 5.5. Honestly, it could go either way. I think it's a really good line, but what I'm all over right now is the over-under. The over-under is set for 240. The Nets have exceeded 240 almost every game in the past 2 weeks. So I am definitely hammering Nets Raptors over under 240 on ESPN tonight. And followed after that, we got a nice West Coast game with Celtics at Clippers. Now, the Clippers I think they were power ranked in the number one team earlier this week. They are playing some really, really good basketball. And again, you guys have heard me on the football show. I hate when East Coast teams go west. So I'm hammering Clippers money line. It's at minus 220. But again, I think when you pair that up, I have a really nice parlay for you guys that I think could really pay out great. So NBA tonight on ESPN, Raptors, Nets, over 240, Celtics at Clippers money line. But we don't only have NBA action. We got my lock of the day. Now, if any of you guys have been following hockey at all this year, I mentioned it last week. The over-unders are through the roof. And my lock of the day is Tampa Bay, Detroit, over 5.5. I'm also taking Tampa Bay minus 1.5 and parlaying those together because Detroit's terrible. Tampa Bay right now is arguably the best team in the league, and Detroit might be the worst. Detroit's super young. I think they're going to be good over the next few years, but right now is Tampa's time to shine. So nice 4-game parlay. You heard my NBA picks. Take the Tampa Bay over and the Tampa Bay 1.5. That pays out plus 1140. That's 12.5 to 1. Throw $10, make $125. That's $115 in profit. That's going to set you up for Super Bowl betting and get it out of the way tonight. Get that money in your pocket so it's play money. It's fun coupons for tonight. What I'm going to be watching, because I'm a pretty big hockey guy, not as big NBA guy, but we got Maryland at Penn State. I think it's a really, really good clash of teams that are pretty even in the Big Ten. I'm taking Penn State. Maryland just came off a very big win. But if anything, I'm taking the under. Both teams can struggle to score at times. It's at 143. I don't think that thing hits 140. But I'm staying away from this game because I think it's going to be a really, really good game. So that covers tonight. What are we looking at tomorrow? And we have a full slate of college basketball. I'm not going to go quite in depth that I normally have. I have a 4-game parlay. All involves likely tournament teams. The first one's Bama Mizzou. I think this is the game of the day, which is crazy. You would think Bama Mizzou football, not Bama Mizzou basketball. But I really like what Nate Oates' team is doing down there in Alabama. They're a really strong team. They can really get up and score. So I'm taking Bama money line at noon on ESPN. A little bit after that, at about 2:30, I'm not leaving my couch for like 10 hours on Saturday. Full slate of college basketball. We got Kansas, West Virginia. Now, if you guys have been following me the past couple weekends, I have been off on the Big 12. Probably the worst conference as far as betting for me goes. But there's one thing that I know about these two teams. They both struggle to score. That's by design. West Virginia's defense is really, really good. But earlier this week, they scored 46 points. Horrendous. And Kansas has had some really bad stretches. Bill Self likes to play with 2 guards, and he just doesn't really have those 2 lead guards this season. So take the under in Kansas, West Virginia. Sticking with it wouldn't be me if I didn't cover a Big Ten game. Wisconsin, Illinois. Illinois coming off a really bad game against in Bloomington against Indiana. Still pulled off the win in overtime, but Kofi Cockburn didn't have a good game. DeSumo didn't have a good game. I expect both of those guys to kick it back in, and Wisconsin just can't score enough with Illinois. I think it's a really, really bad matchup for Wisconsin. And that all leads up to North Carolina versus Duke. Not the same that it has been for probably the past 2.5 decades. Both teams are really, really struggling. But I still think this is going to be an up and down scoring game with a lot of fouls. Expect a lot of fouls, which means scoring while the clock stopped. That's huge in basketball, and that's huge for overs. So my little 4-game parlay that I'm taking Bama money line, Kansas, West Virginia under, Illinois money line, North Carolina, Duke over. That's also going to pay out at about plus 1250, which is about 13.5 to 1. So again, another 10 spot is going to profit you about $125. If both of my props hit, you're looking at close to $250 profit to roll into Super Bowl weekend. But as you guys see behind me and on my shirt and often during my shows, I am a Pittsburgh fan through and through. And the Penguins play tomorrow night against the Islanders. This is another NHL hockey over at 5.5. That's my lock of the day. I think both of those teams get out and score quite a bit. They're both kind of struggling in goal tonight, or in general, early in the season. So lock of the day tomorrow is Penguins Islanders over at 5.5. So what does the Sports Memory got scheduled for this weekend? Well, our podcast is already out, our Super Bowl preview. There's some pretty funny stories in there as well. We cover the Goff Stafford trade. And again, we just go really into the Super Bowl, which, as I said at the beginning of this, I really think is going to be a one for the ages. Tomorrow, you will have JC and I going over some daily fantasy and some fun prop bets. It wouldn't be the Super Bowl if there wasn't some Gatorade color, some Anthem, some pretty off the wall fun props JC and I are going to have for you tomorrow morning, sometime before noon. And then on Sunday, that'll be our regular show for you guys that have been with us, for the past couple months. We're going to go into player props, spreads, over unders. We're going to really go in depth Might be our longest gambling show yet. Again, this game, I'm just so pumped, guys. Again, about 48 hours until kickoff. Got some sports for you to watch for the weekend, but rest up, get ready, because Super Bowl this Sunday. All right, guys,